Yo, so you want to get into real estate investing, but not really sure how to get started. Maybe you have some barriers, like you don't have any money, you have no credit, you have no experience. Don't worry, because in this video, I'm going to be teaching you the steps and strategies to do what's called real estate wholesaling, where you can get into real estate investing regardless if you have no money, no credit, no experience. This strategy puts over $1 million a year into my pocket. I'm going to show you exactly how. If you don't want to be like the majority of other people that try and get into real estate investing and try the strategy of real estate wholesaling and fail miserably, make sure you subscribe to my channel right now. I guarantee you, if you're missing out videos that I'm putting out every single week, you're going to be missing out on millions of dollars in your real estate business. So make sure you hit that bell icon to not miss out on those opportunities. Hey everyone, my name is Zack Boothe. I'm a real estate investor and real estate mentor. A real fun fact for you, my mom was pregnant with me when she shot her first animal with a bow and arrow. Last year, my mom was 60 years old. She climbed into the wild mountains of Idaho, climbed up a tree and shot her first bear with a bow and arrow. What'd you do?
I shot a bear.
What do you think,
bear.
huh?
That's awesome.
Yeah?
She adds enough.
It died in the creek. We weren't getting very much blood and Papa Bear saw him. Look at the size of that melon. Oh my goodness. What a bear. I was raised by savages. It was awesome. Let me know in the comments if you think hunting's wrong. Back to the topic at hand, real estate wholesaling. An average wholesale deal is $20,000 across the country. Bigger deals across the country can be as much as $100,000 or more. My biggest wholesale deal is $103,000. I have multiple students that have done deals from $115,000 to, in the low 100,000s. It's very common for me to have deals in $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a deal, right? You can make an absolute fortune in a short amount of time. Stick with me for the steps and strategies of how to do real estate wholesaling, what it is, how it works. So stick with me throughout this video as I give you these action steps so you can make that kind of money as well. Like I said, the strategy puts over $1 million a year in my pocket. When I first started out, I was a broke window cleaner and I wanted to get into real estate investing, but I had those barriers, not having money, not having credit, not able to buy more investment properties like I was trying to. So real estate wholesaling was the key. I realized that you could find off-market discounted properties, you could find those sellers and pass the opportunity on to a buy and hold investor or a flipper that had the money and the ability to do the deal. So basically you're getting paid a finder's fee. I was like, this is perfect. Now I'll have the cash, plus I'll have a business that's generating those opportunities to be able to cherry pick some in the future when I had the ability to do so, right? And I tell my students all the time, cherry pick the best and wholesale the rest. So let's talk about the steps of wholesaling and how to do it. Okay, so the first step is you gotta find a title company or an escrow company, whatever they call it in your state, that can do the paperwork for you. So let me explain. Let's say I go to Bob. Bob wants to sell me his house. I'm getting the house at a massive discount. I sign a purchase agreement between me and Bob. Then I go to Sally, the flipper, and I say, hey, would you be interested in flipping this property? And she says, yes, I would be happy to. You've agreed to Bob to buy the house for $100,000. Sally says, man, I would probably pay about $150,000 for that house. You say, okay, great, Sally. I have a purchase contract with the seller that says that I can buy it for $100,000. I'm gonna sell you this contract for $50,000. So when you go to close, you have to pay $100,000 for the house to the first seller, and I get $50,000 as a fee, right? And so I then take another contract between me and Sally for $50,000. I take both contracts to the title company. The title company gets the end buyer and the seller to go sign and finalize the paperwork. So you need a title company that understands that process. All you have to understand is how to find the seller and how to find the buyer and sign those papers and take them to the title company. The title company is going to do the rest of it for you. You don't even really need to understand exactly how they do it. So you need to find a title company
that understands the process. The best way to do that is find the other wholesalers in your market. You can find those wholesalers by going to the Real Estate Investors Association groups near you. So type REIA groups near me in Google, and you're going to find who runs those groups. You can find that they have Facebook groups. You can ask who's the active wholesalers or what's a title company around here that does real estate wholesaling transactions. You're going to need to find a title company or an escrow company that can finalize paperwork for you. The next step is you got to build your cash buyers list. Many gurus will tell you, find a deeply discounted deal and the buyers will show up.
What an idiot.
Horrible advice. Horrible advice. Okay, one of my very first deals, I made $10,000 selling the contract. I only had one buyer that wanted the deal because he was a motivated buyer. He had to move money for tax purposes. So he paid $30,000 more than what anyone else was willing to pay. I was able to make 10 grand on a deal that I otherwise would not have gotten if I didn't have that one correct buyer. It's very common for us in our business to have offers that range as much as 50 grand on a house that's only worth $200,000 fixed up. You are going to have buyers that are in need of a deal just as much as you have a seller in need of selling, right? So you gotta make sure you build that cash buyers list first. I have another video that I will link in the show notes of building that cash buyers list, okay? To show your gratitude for that last piece of advice of building your cash buyers list, make sure you go hit that like button right now before we move on to the next step. I'm gonna be able to see how ungrateful my audience is if I have more views than likes. Make sure you hit that like button. All right, now that you have your title company, your cash buyers list, you need to find sellers. You need to do marketing. Any real estate investing business, whether you're doing wholesaling, buy and hold investing, giant multifamily, your business is not real estate. Your business is marketing and the product is real estate, okay? So without leads, without discounted opportunities, you will never be successful in this business. So it's so essential to have a marketing strategy that works. You can spend 10 cents and make a whole dollar, right? You want to be able to make a large profit off of the money that you spend on marketing. My favorite strategy for real estate wholesaling, the marketing strategy I use is called Driving for Dollars. My podcast is called Driving for Dollars Mastery. My program is Driving for Dollars Mastery. Driving for Dollars is what puts over $1 million in my wholesaling business every year. It's a strategy that we use. I did a video on using Deal Machine, which is an app, to create that list, right? I'm also going to link in the show notes the 7 reasons why Driving for Dollars is the fastest way to make an absolute fortune in real estate investing. So go get that free PDF. It's a link of 7 reasons. I don't want to spend too much time on this. I have lots and lots more videos in my YouTube channel on Driving for Dollars, how to do it, how to use it. So, and I also use that same strategy on my 40-day challenge. If you haven't caught that challenge on my YouTube channel, you definitely should check it out. So Driving for Dollars is really the best way, and what I would suggest to you to find your first and also to scale and build your marketing is using Driving for Dollars. All right, the next step is being able to negotiate. Once you've produced those leads, once you've built your Driving for Dollars list and cold call it or text it or postcarded that list, and you have people that want to sell and they want a pawn shop for their house, they want to be done quickly, they want convenience over price, right? Once you find that person, you then need to go meet with them and negotiate and get the signed purchase agreement. What's so important is to understand you're going to be solving problems. You're going to be meeting people that inherited a property. Mom was a hoarder. They have siblings that are freeloading in the house. There's potential litigation between the siblings. Maybe it's a tired landlord that's dealing with evictions and bad tenants that destroyed the house and maybe had a meth lab in the house. Your job's to solve problems for people. Your job's to help them through that process. You got to realize you're going to be serving and solving problems. One of my mentors that taught me about negotiations, he told me a story, and I'm going to tell you the same story. He had a lead. The gentleman lived out of state. He had a vacation home here in Utah, wealthy gentleman. It was a property that he used to come skiing. He would come a couple times a year. But he hadn't come out in years because he had been so busy with work. So he had this property, it was just sitting vacant all the time. He wasn't even using it during ski season. He wasn't renting it out as an told my mentor that was teaching me how to negotiate, he said, Well, I would love to sell it. I'm going to be flying out there in a couple months. I got to take my luxury car out of the garage and ship it home. I've got a bunch of stuff there that I got to box up and ship home as well. Once the house is cleaned out, then I can sell it. I have you and a couple of other people that have reached out to me and are interested in making an offer. So once I get it cleaned out, I'll open it up for you guys to make me offers, and then I'll take highest and best. And my mentor, he said, okay, well, that's just fine. You know, definitely do that. I'll stay in contact with you. You know, you may hate this idea, but what if I could go in and do all of that for you so you don't have to waste your time and fly out here? I'll pay to ship your car to you. I'll pay to box up everything and ship it to you. You'll receive all of those things, and once you have all those things and they're not damaged and everything else, then we can close on the house. So if we can agree to that, I can have you done and take care of all of your problems for you. And he said, holy crap, you would do all of that for me? They signed an agreement, and he was able to sell that purchase contract for $60,000. He helped the seller, he served the seller's problem, and was able to get the contract. And the rest of the investors that had already talked to him that hadn't had that idea are still waiting for that seller to call him back. Right? Your goal is to solve sellers' problems. If you're willing to do that, you're going to get way more deals and make way more money. Once you have that signed purchase agreement with the seller, now you need to find a buyer for the property. So one thing that you're going to need to do is have an inspection period with your seller. Right? You're going to have a time frame to come in and inspect, bring in potential partners, potential cash buyers, and I set those expectations with the seller once I sign that contract. I say, okay, we need to come in and do an inspection and have potential partners and everyone through the property. It's kind of a madhouse for about 30, 40 minutes, but I set that time frame and that expectation, and then I immediately go to work to find every single investor in my area that would like to make an offer. We get them through, they inspect the property, and I take highest and best. Once I find a buyer that's willing to pay the very most for the property, I sign another contract between me and the end buyer. And I'm basically selling the contract. I'm not selling the house. I'm selling the piece of paper to, I'm assigning that piece of paper to the end buyer. So he's paying me for my contract, and then he pays the seller for the house, right? So I get that piece of paper signed. I send both contracts, the purchase contract and the assignment contract, send it to the title company. The title company gets both the seller and the buyer into the title company. They sign. Once it's all finalized, you get paid. Right? It's a very simple process. It's really not like massively complicated, right? But it's very important that you understand that it's a lot of work, right? To go through all of these steps and to cold call and to text and to build your driving for dollars list and to negotiate and to go on those appointments, right? It's a lot of hard work, but it's something that can completely change your financial life. It completely changed mine. To summarize these steps, right? The first thing you do is you need to get your title company lined up. Second, you build your cash buyers list. Third, you want to build a marketing list. You need to start marketing, right? My favorite way is the driving for dollars list. Like I said, I put the 7 reasons why it's the best marketing list. It's the best way to find off-market discounted properties. It's in the show notes. Next, once you have those leads, then you got to go negotiate with the seller, right? And understand that process. Once you have that signed purchase agreement, now you have to find an end buyer for the deal and get that signed contract, which is called the assignment contract. And the final step is you take the 2 contracts, the assignment contract, the purchase agreement contract, send those to the title company and get paid. These steps of real estate wholesaling may seem overwhelming, right? So I went through an overview of the action steps that need to happen, right? And the problem is most people want to get into this business, but they learn the action steps and they feel overwhelmed and they just want to understand everything in the entire process and exactly what's going to happen and exactly what to say and all the what ifs and what could happen at each step, right? And they get stuck. They become stuck in what they call analysis paralysis, right? My suggestion is you start with action step 1 and put it in place. Then action step 2 and put it in place. Don't worry about action step 3 when you're stuck, when you're supposed to be doing action step 1. If you want direct help from me, if you want these action steps, exactly how to do them, what to do, the best processes, the best tips, tricks, and strategies, I would like to invite you to learn more about my Driving for Dollars Mastery program, where I teach you how to do real estate wholesaling where I give you the step-by-step action course and you have direct access to me. You have my personal cell phone. We have weekly coaching calls. We have Facebook groups. You have direct access to me. My goal is gonna be to help you become successful, to get you out on my success wall with my other successful students, right? So if you have any interest in having a mentor to speed up this process, to become successful in real estate wholesaling, I'd love to talk to you more about it. You can go to dfdmastery.com/start now. It's going to be linked in the show notes as well. You can book a call and talk to us directly about how the program works and everything else, so you can make a decision if that's something you want to do. I hope to see you on one of those calls and talk to you about the program. Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode. If you guys want to see me in action doing what I teach my students, I took on a challenge of flying to somewhere I'd never been. I went to Tampa with $1,000 with a goal to turn it into over 40 grand in 40 days. I blew that goal completely out of the water. You can watch it day by day. I'm going to link the first day of that challenge right here. Again, thank you so much for following along and joining me in this video. Thank you so much to my faithful followers and my subscribers. I appreciate you guys so much. We'll see you in the next video.